USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for this day.
Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to Fun Facts Daily. I'm your host Kyle Wood. Today, we'll be learning all about ketchup, but before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Consider this idea. Ketchup was once sold as a medicine. Could it be true that this popular condiment was once prescribed by doctors for ailments like indigestion and diarrhea? What do you think? The truth will be coming out at the end of this episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is umami. Umami is one of the 5 basic tastes, along with sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. It's often described as a savory, meaty, or brothy taste. The word umami comes from Japanese and was coined in 1908 by Professor Kikune Ikeda of Tokyo Imperial University. He identified glutamate, an amino acid, as the source of this distinct savory taste found in foods like kombu, or kelp, which is a key ingredient in Japanese dashi broth. Tomatoes, a primary ingredient in modern ketchup, are naturally rich in glutamate, which contributes significantly to ketchup's satisfying and savory flavor profile, making it a perfect example of an umami-rich food. Now, your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about ketchup. Number 1, ketchup wasn't always red and didn't originally contain tomatoes. Believe it or not, the earliest versions of what we now call ketchup were far from the sweet and tangy red sauce we know today. The origins of ketchup can be traced back to 17th century China, where it was a fermented fish sauce made from fish entrails, soybeans, and spices. This early ancestor of ketchup was more savory and pungent. It wasn't until the late 18th and early 19th centuries that tomatoes started to become a common ingredient in ketchup recipes in the United States. Early tomato-based ketchups also varied wildly, with some recipes including ingredients like mushrooms, anchovies, or even oysters, and they weren't always the bright red color we now expect. Number 2, a surprising amount of the world's ketchup is enjoyed through just one fast food giant. McDonald's is one of the largest single buyers of ketchup in the world. While specific global figures can fluctuate, it's estimated that McDonald's uses hundreds of millions of pounds of ketchup annually across its vast network of restaurants. This massive consumption highlights just how integral ketchup has become to the fast food experience for millions of people every day. The relationship between fast food and ketchup is symbiotic. The sweet, tangy, and umami flavors of ketchup perfectly complement popular fast food items like French fries and burgers. In fact, for many, these fast foods are simply incomplete without a side of ketchup. Number 3, ketchup once flowed so slowly, it caused them to redesign the packaging. The iconic glass ketchup bottle, while classic, was notoriously frustrating due to the ketchup lag, the phenomenon where the thick sauce stubbornly refused to pour. This wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It was a genuine design challenge. The viscosity of ketchup, a non-Newtonian fluid, means its flow rate changes under stress. Hence why whacking the bottom of the bottle sometimes works, but often leads to a ketchup explosion. This problem led to significant advancements in food packaging. The invention of the squeezable plastic bottle in the 1980s revolutionized the ketchup experience, allowing for much easier and more controlled dispensing. This innovation wasn't just about convenience. It also helped reduce food waste as consumers could get more of the product out of the container. Number 4, there's actually an international standard for how fast ketchup should flow. It might sound a bit silly, but the consistency of ketchup is serious business for manufacturers. To be graded as, quote, fancy, extra standard, or standard by the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, ketchup must meet certain criteria, including flow rate. The test involves a device called a Bostwick consistometer, which measures how far a substance flows under its own weight in a given time. For a grade of fancy ketchup, the most common type sold in stores, the sauce should not flow more than 14 centimeters in 30 seconds at a specific temperature. This ensures that the ketchup you buy has that familiar thick but not too thick consistency that consumers expect, preventing a watery or overly pasty product. Now, our fifth and final fun fact for today, not all ketchups are created equally. In fact, some early recipes were downright dangerous. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, before widespread food regulations like the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, some commercial ketchup producers used unsafe preservatives and questionable ingredients to cut costs and extend shelf life. Coal tar was sometimes used to give ketchup its red color, and preservatives like benzoic acid were often added in large quantities, which could be harmful. Pioneering figures like Dr. Harvey Washington Wiley, often called the father of the Pure Food and Drug Act, campaigned against these practices. Henry J. Heinz, a prominent ketchup manufacturer, was actually a supporter of these reforms. He believed in using high-quality ingredients and sanitary production methods, and his company was among the first to switch to a preservative-free recipe using ripe tomatoes and vinegar, which helped set a new standard for the industry. Now for some news you can use. If you'll indulge me, this segment's going to be just a little bit longer today because I had too many good options with ketchup. So I'm going to give you a few tips today. First, here's a handy tip for getting that stubborn ketchup out of a glass bottle without making a mess or waiting forever. Instead of violently shaking or whacking the bottom of the bottle, which can cause ketchup to splatter everywhere, try this. Hold the bottle at about a 45-degree angle with the opening pointing toward your food. Then firmly tap the neck of the bottle on the 57 mark if it's a Heinz bottle, though the principle applies to most glass ketchup bottles. This technique works well because ketchup is a non-Newtonian fluid, specifically a shear thinning fluid. This means its viscosity or its thickness decreases when it's under stress, like when you tap it. Tapping the neck of the bottle in the right spot helps to liquefy the ketchup near the opening just enough to get it flowing smoothly and controllably. Now, speaking of non-Newtonian fluids, you can actually make your own fun version right in your kitchen. All you need is cornstarch and water. Simply mix a cup of cornstarch with about half a cup of water in a bowl. You might need to adjust the amount slightly to get the right consistency. You're looking for a mixture that feels like a liquid when you move your hand through it slowly, but solidifies and resists pressure if you try to punch or squeeze it quickly. This mixture is often called oobleck, and it's a fantastic hands-on way to experience the fascinating properties of non-Newtonian fluids, just like our friend ketchup, but more fun and a little less messy to play with. It's a great science experiment to try with your kids. Now, as much as I enjoy nerding out a bit with non-Newtonian fluids, I also wanted to share a little tip for the health-conscious listeners. While ketchup is a beloved condiment, it's worth noting that many commercially produced ketchups can be surprisingly high in added sugars, often in the form of high fructose corn syrup. Just a tablespoon of some popular brands can contain about 4 grams of sugar. If you're mindful of your sugar intake, it's a good idea to check the nutrition labels. Thankfully, many brands now offer a no sugar added or reduced sugar version that use alternative sweeteners or rely more on natural sweetness of the tomatoes. These can be a great way to enjoy ketchup without the extra sugar load. But for the most health-conscious approach, and for a truly fresh and vibrant flavor, why not try making your own ketchup? It's easier than you might think and allows you to control all the ingredients. To start, you'll need a large can, about 28 ounces, of good quality crushed tomatoes, or a 12-ounce can of tomato paste if you prefer richer, more concentrated base. In a medium saucepan, you can begin by sautéing about 1/4 cup of small, finely chopped onions with a tablespoon of olive oil over medium heat until it's softened. Takes about 5 minutes. Then add the crushed tomatoes or the tomato paste to the pan. Next, stir in about 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar or white vinegar and 1 or 2 tablespoons of your preferred sweetener. Could be maple syrup, honey, or a sugar substitute. Start with less sweetener though. You can always add more later. For spices, a classic combination includes a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, or a tiny pinch of cloves, and salt and pepper to taste. Start with about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Again, you can always add more later. Bring the mixture to a gentle simmer over medium heat. Reduce it to low heat, cover partially, and let it cook for about 30 to 45 minutes, stirring occasionally to prevent sticking and allow the flavors to meld and the sauce to thicken. If it gets too thick, you can add a tablespoon or 2 of water. Once it's reached your desired consistency, remove it from heat. For an extra smooth ketchup, carefully transfer the mixture to the blender, but let it cool a little bit first because most blenders aren't designed for hot liquids, and blend it till it's smooth. Try a little bit of it and adjust the seasonings to your taste. Homemade ketchup not only tastes fantastic, but it also lets you skip the preservatives and anything else you don't want in there. But be aware, without all those preservatives, it may not last as long as the store-bought variety. But if you store it in an airtight container in your fridge, it should last a couple weeks. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. Earlier, I asked if it was true that ketchup was once sold as a medicine. That is an actual fact. In the 1830s, a physician in Ohio named Dr. John Cook Bennett began selling tomato-based ketchup as a patent medicine. He claimed it could cure ailments such as diarrhea, indigestion, jaundice, and rheumatism. He even concentrated it into a pill form. While the medicinal claims were largely exaggerated and eventually debunked as other, quote, cures of the era were, it's true that tomatoes do contain antioxidants like lycopene. But the idea of ketchup as a broad-spectrum cure just didn't last, and it eventually found its rightful place as a beloved condiment. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning about ketchup with me. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.